Well, the Republicans have lost Marjorie Taylor Greene. Can you believe that? I'm going to get into what she had to say, the response by Mike Johnson all over the government shutdown, the framing by the Republican Party that the government is shut down because the Democrats want to provide free health care to illegal immigrants. Again, that is not true. That's just the framing, the culture where they want to make it out to be. Marjorie Taylor Greene not buying it. We'll get into what she had to say, but first, how much money will you possibly be paying next year? According to this report, an older couple making $85,000 a year will see their insurance premiums go from $7,000 to $25,000, 30% of their income. What?
And an older couple out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not that's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium.
And I would argue $85,000 in this world with inflation is not high earning whatsoever. Maybe if your mortgage is paid off, it's enough. But come on, folks.
$7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income, not an income. 30%.
And again, what's this going to do to the economy? All that discretionary spending, vacations, tourism, entertainment, boom, gone. Why? Where does the money go? Does it go back to filling the potholes? No, you knucklehead. That money is going back into the government because they're doing tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. So that's all of these insurance premiums going up. That's just going to partially cover, even with the country going into further debt, the tax cuts to people that won't even know the difference. They won't. It's an accounting issue. They won't even know the difference. They're so wealthy. Here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, aka MTG, had to say.
This is the number one issue I hear about in my district. Health insurance premiums are unaffordable. What I am upset over is my party has no solution. It's not something that we talk about frequently.
Now, Democrats are pouncing on her comments and using her as an unlikely ally to put pressure on Republicans, even highlighting her with a poster yesterday. Now, Greene also called out her Senate colleagues and leaders there for changing Senate rules to approve Trump nominees with a simple majority yesterday.
Yeah, okay, so look, good for her. You know, broken clock might be right twice a day. She wants the Epstein files released, and she says medical costs are too damn high. Now, the reason she knows that medical costs are too damn high is because she has a daughter, and she knows that her daughter's going to be paying double, and they can't afford it. And I saw someone talk about this. It's the same reason Tucker Carlson knows that the housing crisis is a problem, because he's got kids, and those kids can't afford to buy a home. It's the same reason Dick Cheney then was, okay with gay marriage, because his daughter came out as a lesbian. And I hate that people need personal situations in order to feel empathy, right? Like, I'm going to do okay. Listen, healthcare, my cost double. It's going to suck. I'm going to be fine. It's the people that already have their pennies pinched. They've got no extra dollar. They're already cutting that jar of jelly to stretch the kids' lunches. They're already sacrificing and putting money on the credit card. They are so royally screwed. So many people are so royally screwed. When are they going to get it through their head? I mean, listen, Google your representative who covers the ACA and find out how much more money it's going to cost you. That information's out there. Go figure it out, because you still have a chance to pressure people. And that's why the government shut down, because they want to pressure the government to maintain these subsidies. And they're not asking for anything new. Here's Speaker Johnson responding to MTG.
Some of your own members have expressed concern about the expiration of the ACA tax credits. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been the latest one. There are concerns that when they expire, premiums for millions of Americans would skyrocket. Why not begin negotiations on that issue right now?
Because the government is closed, and as I mentioned, that's a December 31 issue. There are lots of conversations and deliberations and discussions right now, even bipartisan amongst members, about necessary changes that would have to be made, pretty dramatic changes, to even have that considered on the floor. But look, I'm not going to forecast the outcome of that. The whole point is you keep the government open, and then we have those discussions. We were always planning to have those discussions.
Now he says we were already gonna have those discussions, but that's the issue. Democrats have no leverage in these discussions. The Republicans took the ball and ran with it. They did not want to negotiate at all on these things. So this is the one play that Democrats have. Now they've got folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, you know what, I'm on their side on this issue. And I mean, like this sort of misinterpretation of what's going on by these Republican leaders saying that, no, the Democrats want to just provide health care for illegal immigrants. I mean, these are people that claim to be Christians, and they're okay with, I guess, illegals just sitting in the street with an issue bleeding out. Good God, Jesus would be flipping tables in Congress if he knew what was going on here with these so-called Christians.
Peter Johnson, a lot of the free health care for illegal aliens that you've been talking about is care provided in emergency rooms, which are required by federal law to care for anybody, even if they can't pay, even if they're not a citizen. Do you think that that law should be changed?
No, you're talking about EMTALA, which has been part of the law for most of my life. Emergency care is provided without question to anyone who comes in. If you're hemorrhaging and you show up in an emergency room, you get treated.
And this is the problem, right, with all the uninsured people, is that they end up passing the cost on to people with insurance, and it raises their cost. If we had universal health care that everyone paid into, it would absorb those costs in a way more unified way, so you wouldn't have to worry about these issues. I mean, it's so ridiculous that we've got people like Mike Johnson, and by the way, if you're in Congress, if you're in Senate, they've got health care. They're provided for by our tax dollars. We pay them to vote on issues that end up fucking us over. Hey, listen, if no one gets health care, he doesn't get it either. I want to see what he does during flu season when he has to pay out of his ass because he needs to get a flu shot. So here we have a question separate to Mike Johnson here regarding Epstein. Because the government shut down, Mike Johnson refuses to swear in this newly elected congresswoman who would be the deciding vote to pressure the Epstein files from being released.
You swear her in.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein. This is a scheduling matter. As soon as the Democrats vote to reopen the government, we will get back to the regular order and session of Congress, and that'll be, I'm sure, among our first orders of business.
All right, so it's a scheduling issue. So when he sent the government on a month-long vacation, end of the summer, it was a scheduling issue. September 2nd comes around, they kick the can down the road, they don't vote on it, and now, let's just shut the government down. Are they going to try to kick the can down the road until they rig the next election? Here's Mike Johnson again misconstruing the issue with the government shutdown, claiming that we shouldn't be footing the bill for the illegals when this is not what it's all about.
You're a young, pregnant American citizen woman who shows up in an ER and you get treated, and they pay the hospital less for treating you than some illegal rabble-rouser who came in from some, South American country to do us harm. That is wrong. The Republican Party stands for common sense. In the big, beautiful bill, we fix that. And Chuck Schumer wants to unwind it. And it is unconscionable to me that he's inflicting all this pain on American citizens so they can play games and try to appease the radical left base. That's what this is.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Trump, they all could have negotiated this before the shutdown. They didn't do it. They played chicken, and now they're finding out that they are underwater. Their favorability has dipped over this because people understand what this is all about. This is a bunch of rich people playing with poor people's lives. All right, here we have Dave Rubin, conservative commentator. He used to be a liberal guy. He's conservative now. Says the NFL is poking the bear by having Bad Bunny do the Super Bowl halftime show. What you're about to witness is Dave Rubin, like so many of these sort of culture warriors, continuing to make a story out of nothing.
Bad Bunny went on SNL and, let's jump to that first, and then we'll get to the other stuff. Bad Bunny went on SNL and, yes, basically said, if you don't learn Spanish in 4 months, you're not going to understand the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm just repeating what she said, which is what he's going to say.
De todo, demostrando que nuestra huella y nuestra aportación en este país nadie nunca la podrá sacar ni borrar.
So what he says is, if you didn't understand that, you got 4 months to figure it out. And it gets a laugh because it's a joke.
And if you didn't understand what I just said. You have 4 months to learn.
How could anybody get offended by this?
Okay, now it should be noted that Bad Bunny's current world tour boycotts the United States of America because of his concerns over ICE.
Oh, yeah. Why should Bad Bunny have any concerns over ICE? Here is ICE in Chicago shooting a pastor in the head with a pepper ball. Look at this. Right here, folks. That's the pastor shot in the head with a pepper ball. Right there, peacefully praying. Pepper ball shots can be lethal if the hit is a vulnerable area like an eye, throat, or spine. Well, how about if the hit is the top of a head? This pastor went from praying for these other wrongfully or detainees to all of a sudden praying for his own life because he's getting shot in the head by these ICE agents that are standing on top of a building. Yeah. I'm not surprised Bad Bunny doesn't want to play in the United States of America, you fucking idiot.
So you've got this sort of crazed, like he's taking the crazed extreme left position on ICE.
Crazed.
He's going to perform all in Spanish, kind of threatening, it's a threat in a sense. It's like,
how dare he speak his language of choice?
Like we just don't give an F about your culture or your language.
So Dave Rubin says it's a threat that he's speaking in Spanish. Has Spanish ever been threatening to anybody? Have you ever heard Spanish and you go, okay, no. Like, what are you talking about? How can they conjure up this fear out of nowhere? What is this magic trick that they're trying to do?
So the question here, as we're dealing with cultural rot, I think that's what the theme of the show is. It's like we've had such confusion over the post-October 7th stuff. We can't seem to be able to say, maybe the Super Bowl, like the one day of the year where basically everybody in the entire country, you could argue Thanksgiving also, but from a entertainment perspective, when we're all basically watching the same thing, when we're all sitting there with our family and friends and eating wings and drinking beer and blah, blah, blah. Like, do you think that maybe the NFL, what network's it on, the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, right. I just can't. It's like, listen, why don't they just get an American to do why can't they get an American to do the halftime show? Well, we could get Zach Bryan to do it. No, not Zach Bryan. He's also against ICE. They say it's a culture war issue. It's not. Listen, how is it cultural rot when they bring in somebody who has a little bit of a different culture than, white Christianity? The hell is he talking? I'm losing my mind over frauds like this who will divide us on faux culture issues, fan the flame, pour the gasoline on it, all so that they can have just something to continue to be perpetually angry about. You're a fraud. And you besmirch the good name of Dave. All right, that's it for me. We'll be back in the morning. We're here twice a day, every day. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.